Hi. All right, we're going to get caught up on our reading from yesterday. So I'm opening up to page 99, and where we left off, remember the giant has come along and taken Granny Relda and Mr. Canis because they were in the car, and he picked up the car and put it in his shirt pocket. So now Sabrina and Daphne and Elvis are kind of stranded all by themselves, and we will see what happens next. All right, so I'm picking up on page 99. If we can even get home, Sabrina said to herself as a light caught the corner of her eye. She looked down the road. There were headlights approaching. The two girls got up from the log and brushed themselves off. What should we do? Stick our thumbs up? Daphne asked. Sabrina didn't know. They'd never hitchhiked before. In the past, whenever the girls had found themselves alone or on the run, they'd slipped under the turnstiles in the subway stations and traveled New York City's subterranean highway. This was new to Sabrina. She stuck out her thumb and Daphne did the same. The car came to a screeching stop. It sat still for a moment, its engine humming, blinding the girls with its high beam lights so that they had to shield their eyes with their hands. Well, that was easy, Daphne said. What's he doing? Suddenly the car let out a long eardrum rattling honk, followed by more engine revving. To Sabrina, it seemed as if the car were an animal, waiting for the right time to pounce on them. She recalled hearing stories about hitchhikers being killed by lunatics. Hitchhiking didn't seem like that great of an idea anymore. She grabbed her sister's hand and pulled her off the road. As if in response, the car revved his engine again, and the sound of squealing tires on asphalt filled the air. Run! Sabrina cried. The two of them raced back the way they had come, hand in hand. Elvis followed closely behind, turning his big head to bark angry warnings at the menacing car. But this had no effect on whoever was behind the wheel. The car veered to the other side of the road, sped up and past the girls, then spun around, leaving black stains on the asphalt and the smell of burning rubber in Sabrina's nose. When it came to an abrupt stop, she realized it was a police car. The door opened and a short, pear-shaped man stepped out. He wore a beige police uniform with shiny black boots, a billy club that hung from his utility belt, and a wide-brimmed hat fastened under his three chins. His face was puffy and pink, with his nose that angled slightly upward. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, we remember that on the back it tells us the three not so little pigs, the shifty town cops. I bet you this cop is one of the three little pigs. So his face was puffy and pink with a nose that angled slightly upward so that a person could see up his nostrils. On his shirt was a shiny metal star that read, Ferryport Landing Police Department. A name tag underneath it read, Sheriff Ernest Hampstead. Girls, why are you running? The sheriff asked in an unusually high-pitched voice that made Sabrina shiver. We thought you were trying to kill us, Daphne said angrily. Sabrina flashed her a look, letting her know that she would do the talking. I'm sorry if I gave you two a start, but it's not safe for little girls like yourselves to be walking out here in the dark. These roads can be treacherous, the sheriff said. Treacherous? Daphne asked. Dangerous, Sabrina explained. I got a call that you were out here, so I came looking, the portly man continued as he hoisted his sinking pants up around his waist. Why don't you two hop into the squad car and I'll take you home? He pointed to Elvis. I don't know if we have room for your house in there or your horse in there, but we'll try. He's not a horse, Daphne said. Then, realizing the sheriff was joking, she added, You can't tease him. He's very sensitive. Hampstead leaned down and scratched Elvis under the chin. Oh, I'm sure he is, aren't you, Elvis? The big dog growled and snapped at the sheriff's hand. Hampstead pulled it away just in time. How do you know Elvis? Sabrina said suspiciously. Oh, Elvis and I have met many times. You must be Relda Grimm's grandchildren. I heard you were in town, he said. I'm the local sheriff, Ernest Hampstead. I'm Daphne, the little girl offered. Sabrina muttered, still not sure she could trust him. So hop in, unless the two of you want to walk. It's a long way, though. Are you trying to raise $1 million for the March of Dimes? Hampstead opened the squad car's back door, and Elvis clumsily climbed inside. Sabrina and Daphne walked around the car and got in the front seat. Sheriff Hampstead squeezed and shifted until he was behind the wheel, breathing heavily as if carrying a great burden. As soon as he was settled, he started up the squad car and drove in the direction of Granny's house. So I assume you two have already concocted a plan, Hampstead asked. The girls looked at each other, unsure of what to say. A plan? Sabrina said, trying to play dumb. Yes. How are you going to rescue your grandmother and Mr. Canis? You know about that? Sabrina asked, dumbfounded. Sheriff Hampstead shrugged. Hard to miss a 200-foot giant carrying grandmas away into the night, don't you think? I don't want you two girls to worry. Your granny is a tough cracker. I've seen her in bigger jams than this one. And besides, she's got the entire Ferryport Landing Police Department working on the case. I know you two have been trained for this kind of thing, but we like to take care of our own problems here in Ferryport Landing. Daphne cupped her hand around Sabrina's ear. Have we been trained? She whispered. I don't know what he's talking about, Sabrina whispered back. Are you an ever after? The little girl said, returning her attention to the sheriff. The sheriff looked over and winked a yes at Daphne. She squealed in delight. Oh, which one? Suddenly, the squad car's two-way radio crackled to life. Hampstead, Sheriff Hampstead, a man's voice fumed. It sounded oddly familiar to Sabrina. The sheriff nervously grabbed at the handset. His sweaty hand fumbled it before he finally got hold of it. I'm here, boss, en route now, Hampstead said. That's fantastic news, Hampstead. Nice to know you can do something that's asked of you. As for our other problem, our little troublemaker has been arrested, and he's sitting in a cell as we speak. Good news, sir, Hampstead said. I'm so glad you approve, the man said. Now let's get those little trolls back to the mansion ASAP. I can't have any more headaches ruining tomorrow's festivities. Sabrina's throat tightened with fear. When she looked at her sister, she saw the same horror reflected in Daphne's eyes. The voice on the police radio belonged to Mayor Charming. Oh my gosh. So when Mayor Charming says, now get those little trolls back to the mansion ASAP. I can't have any more headaches ruining tomorrow's activities. Those two little trolls that he's talking about, that has to be Sabrina and Daphne. They might be in danger. Daphne, do you remember that time Mr. and Mrs. Donovan took us to the 3-day Lima Bean Cook-Off Festival? Sabrina asked casually, hoping the girl would remember the crazy foster couple they'd lived with 2 weeks the previous year. The little girl's grimace told her the memory was still fresh and revolting. Mrs. Donovan was so proud of her pickled lima bean casserole, and the girls had been forced to act as taste testers. What Sabrina hoped was that Daphne also remembered their daring escape Sabrina slipped her hand into her sister's, and when the car slowed to stop at a red light, she quickly pulled on the door handle. Before Hampstead could react, the girls were out of the car and freeing Elvis from the back seat. Hey! All right, we're gonna stop here. Okay, so we're gonna pause on page 104 and we'll pick up reading here tomorrow when we read again, okay? All right, so bookmarks on page 104 and we'll read soon. All right, bye.